Hello, beautiful people of the world. Today I'm going to be talking about the astrological forecast for June 2021. I will just say right off the bat, it is going to be quite the wild ride. There is a lot of mutability and a lot of chaotic energy going on throughout June. So, for the rest of you, that this is also summertime, it's going to be a pretty crazy hot summer, at least from what I can see so far. So, I guess firstly, let's talk about Gemini and Mercury, okay? Because Mercury is either in Gemini or retrograde in Gemini for the entire month of June, which means there's not only going to be a large amount of communication and this and that and back and forth and details and information and paperwork and phone calls and scheduling and what have you, but there's also going to be a lot of difficulty getting those things done. So it's probably going to manifest for everybody differently, but I would assume it would make a lot of people's work lives very difficult if you do happen to center around a large volume of communication or technology or things working properly or interpersonal, what have you. It's just really going to be kind of a struggle this month to get through all of that. It can be pretty overwhelming. It can be pretty frazzling. It can be quite the frustration, unfortunately, this month. And I think that it's really going to take quite a bit of patience and humor to really get through this. I think that's really going to be the key is there's all of this stuff going on, but I think if you can find the lightness of it that Gemini provides and to be able to joke about it and think it's funny to make a mistake or when things aren't working properly or to just make it a little bit more lighthearted and not take it seriously because there's going to be so much going on that I think if every little detail is taken to an intense seriousness, it's just going to make it even more difficult. So I think if something gets screwed up or something gets miscommunicated, just keep moving. I wouldn't dwell on it for too long because there's just going to be so many little things that are going on throughout the month that it's really not worthwhile to hold on to all of them, or to try to to try to focus on something that's already happened because the way that this month is working, it's going to be very fast paced and you really just need to kind of roll with the punches here and try to laugh and smile along the way. So Venus and Mars are getting ready. They're sort of following each other right now. They're getting closer and closer and closer. And in July, they're actually going to like kiss for a second. On July 12th, they're going to be conjunct, and then they're going to move back away from each other. And I'm assuming that they won't meet again for quite some time. I've been meaning to do a bit more research into that cycle, but I do find it very beautiful. So we can see the the lead up to that during this month. So Mars begins the month in Cancer, and it does move into Leo June 11th. And Venus begins the month in Gemini, moves into Cancer June 2nd, and then moves into Leo on June 27th. So Venus actually gets to be in three signs this month. And then they'll both be in Leo by the time that the month is closing. So at least for the period of time when they're both in Cancer for the beginning of the month, I think especially with all of this Gemini energy going on and what we're going through, the sun still being in Gemini till, the 21st when it moves into Cancer. I think that having Mars and Venus in Cancer will allow you to have some sort of introverted moment, to be able to go within yourself for the action and the love and the joy and the motivation and the passion that you need, because there's going to just be so much going on in the external world, and a lot of it is going to seem very superficial, or just very insignificant, or bothersome, or annoying, or you just have to get all of these little things done and all these little bills paid, and renew all your little subscriptions and whatnot. I think, like I had mentioned, with that being very buzzy and potentially annoying, I think that having Mars and Venus in Cancer will allow you to have a little bit of a place to retreat to. Though, on the other hand, I think that everyone could potentially be really extra sensitive this month, and particularly prone to being quite defensive. With the Mercury retrograde situation going on, I think that, definitely miscommunications and people's feelings getting hurt when they really aren't meant to, or having uncomfortable arguments or conversations about all of the chaos that is going on within your life. Yeah, that's the flip side. I think that it is going to be important to retreat within yourself, but I also think that there is just so much going on. It's going to be really, really important for everybody to try to strike some sort of mental and emotional balance within themselves. And then, I mean, Venus in Leo is all about self-love and loving the self. And Mars in Leo can be quite similar. Though it's typically that you are acting on your own passions and your own desires and doing what you want to do, and making sure that you feel content and happy within your own self, and that you are acting upon that. So I think Mars going into Leo June 11th will definitely be a very, very important force to cling onto. It's going to be the only fire sign that's happening at all within the entire sky at that particular moment. It's going to be a very direct energy. It's going to be a very assertive energy, and it is going to be a very clear energy. So I really think that Mars in Leo on the 11th is probably going to be one of the most important footholds for this month for you to really tap into that if you can. Like I said in the beginning, you can try to retreat into yourself and reflect and just to worry about yourself and be very Cancery. And I think when Mars moves into Leo, I would personally ride with that, because the rest of this is going to be a little bit hard to navigate through otherwise. Because also Jupiter just went into Pisces, which I don't really know if the world's ready for that right now. It is going to be going retrograde and then be going back into Aquarius for a very long time, then having to move back through Aquarius. Moral of the story is we're going to have to deal with Jupiter and Pisces for about a month and some change. And then we will not have Jupiter in Pisces again, actually, until January of 2022. So it's going to be going back into Aquarius, where I think that it needs to be right now, where it is fleshing through and working out all of those societal issues, which we are a bit used to. I think Jupiter and Pisces, when it does make this brief crossover, is just going to add so much to the chaos energy that is already going on with Gemini and with Mercury, especially with Neptune being in Pisces. I feel like Neptune and Jupiter being in Pisces together is going to be quite the experience. I think it's going to be very intense. I think it's going to be very chaotic, very wild, and very emotional, very spiritual. Just so much is going to be, in my opinion, caused from those two planets being together in Pisces with each other. I can't see that going any other way. And to be quite honest, I'm already very affected by Jupiter and Pisces, and it hasn't even really started. So that is going to be going on, however, throughout all of June. So again, while the Cancer energy could be somewhat of a retreat, because there's so much water going on with all of this mutability, it's just going to be really difficult to really find your ground this month. Things are going to move so fast. There's going to be so many little opportunities, so many little situations. And honestly, I really recommend clinging on to the Leo energy as it comes during this month, because it is going to be probably the most stable sign that we're going to have going forward for a little bit. Saturn and Uranus are still squaring each other. That has been going on all year. that to me symbolizes the struggle between your own needs and worrying about yourself and being authentic with the needs of the greater society and the rules and the roles. And of course, we have seen this been playing out on the main stage on Earth here through the pandemic. So that is still continuing to go on and will still continue to go on. Pluto doing its thing in Capricorn, that is nothing new either. So the moon is very busy as well throughout June, causing so many different aspects that it would honestly take me probably a 20-minute video just about the moon to cover it. But it does move so frequently that I tend to not do stuff like that. However, I would say that the 14th and the 19th are going to be particularly tense, difficult days for the moon. They are just making at least 3 negative aspects each time that I wrote these dates down, where it just puts itself in a position where it is just not feeling it with the other planets. So I think the 14th and the 19th could be a little bit extra difficult to get through. And the 21st is actually making a grand water trine. The moon's going to be in Scorpio and Venus will be in Cancer. Neptune will be in Pisces. I think that will be quite a beautiful day in terms of how the moon is placing itself. But for the most part, like I said, I wish I could kind of go through more detail, but it is pretty much aspecting at least 1 or 2 things every single time that it does anything, and it gets all up in everybody's business this month, causing so much. So honestly, if you're interested in that, I recommend following it on a day-to-day basis because it is very, very busy this month. Not that it's not always moving, but I found particularly in June, there was just a very overwhelming amount of aspects that it was making, which would make it so difficult to talk about, especially with everything else that's already going on. So I would just probably follow that day by day if that's something that you're interested in, and it is going to be going through a lot of challenges. So I think that this month could be very emotionally challenging for a lot of people, and we're just going to have to keep our heads up, you know? On June 24th, we have the full moon in Aries. I think that that will also be a really nice bit of respite in a fire sign, in a very direct sign, in a very forward sign, and a very clear thinking sign. That full moon should bring, a good bit of clarity and passion and goodness into all of this mutable wildness that we've got going on during the month. June 10th is a new moon in Gemini. I think that that will kind of attempt to gather up a lot of that air energy and get it a bit more organized for the rest of the month. But for the most part, yeah, Mercury is still going to be in retrograde for the entire month of June, pretty much. So that being said, yeah, I would really, whenever fire placements come through, I would try to hold on to that as much as you can. There's really not a lot of footing in the outer planets right now. They have a lot of their own things going on. And with this Gemini, Pisces, Cancer-y sort of vibe, I think it'll just be a little bit all over the place this month. That's just kind of how I am predicting this. It just seems very wild, very fast-paced, a little bit disjointed, a little bit confusing, a little bit problematic. But at the end of the day, this is all, of course, an opportunity to really fine-tune your thoughts and emotions, and to work through difficult situations and come out stronger on the other side of things. And yeah, I would really focus on Mars and Venus being in Leo and then being together in Leo and then meeting in Leo. To me, I can't think of anything more indicative than a really good time to experience self-love and to try to just focus on you and what you need and what your needs are, because for a very, very long time now, lots of things have been in Aquarius, lots of things have been in communication signs and in air signs and focusing on society and other people and all this information and data and protocols and rewriting things and redoing things and working digitally and with technology. And we've been so oversaturated with that energy that I really think that the fire will help us cleanse a good amount of that and to just kind of move forward. I would say the water energy is going to be very potent throughout the month of June, and there are going to be some strong emotions and some confusing emotions that we're going to have to sort through as well. Sorry this is a longer video than usual. There's so much going on in June that I honestly could probably talk about this for much longer than I already have, but I just wanted to try and summarize that up the best that I could for you guys. And I have ideas for various other videos. I apologize for missing the May video. I work in a vet hospital, and my day job is very wild, and I'm a bit worried about all this energy that is gonna put it through. But I've just been working very hard, and it's been difficult to find time to focus on my creative endeavors. But regardless, I love all of you very much. I wish you the best for this month, and I will be back shortly. Thank you.